confident communicator is essential. Welcome to the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Witcher. And I want to encourage you. I'm going to share with you some resources through this episode. I want you to have a free IEP checklist. All the links to the things that I mentioned are above or below wherever you are watching or listening to this. So make sure that you get your resources from this episode. So we're talking about growing a confident communicator because this is essential. This is essential to building an IEP that works in the real world and making sure that a child is truly prepared for further education, employment, and independent living. That includes a lot of communication support. That includes making sure that a child is moving from where they're at to that next level of communication and making sure that we are using research-based practices, making sure that we're making data-driven decisions, and making sure that we're working as a team between home and school when it comes to building up the communication skills of our children, of our students, because this is going to take teamwork. A child needs to have confidence in their ability to communicate, because when they do not have confidence in their communication skills, they tend not to participate, right? Like, you can see that, right? So if I don't have confidence in communicating, then I'm not going to participate. And when I don't participate, then I get in a habit of not participating. And this habit of not participating can actually carry over into adulthood. And I see that in our adult disability community. You guys know I have a brother who's 45 with Down syndrome. So I have a lot of experience in the adult disability community. And I will tell you, even my brother, who, he definitely can share his opinion, but does he speak proficiently in all situations? No, he doesn't. And I can see sometimes I have to say, like, Robert, it's okay. Like, you, and he goes, oh, can I? I'm like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can participate. And there's a lot of encouragement to help him communicate. And so I can see how him and his friends, kind of hold back sometimes because they're not always confident in their communication. In fact, we all do that sometimes. That's a very typical thing to do, is to not speak up if you're not confident in what you're going to say. But how do we, really build confident communicators in our classrooms or at home for our students who need more? They need more than, just the average support in communication. We have to dig deep and find something, again, that's research-based, that's data-driven, and that has teamwork. And that's one of the reasons that I am talking about Gemiini today. Gemiini is something that I mentioned in a past episode. And I said I would come back and talk about Gemiini's language pyramid. And I love the way that Gemiini explains their language pyramid and why they use it. And their language pyramid throughout their program, and again, I'm going to put the links to Gemiini here. Gemiini is an online program that is available for both home and school. And that's really important. So that's actually, when I say it needs to be research-based, data-driven, and I say teamwork, home and school, that's a key part of Gemiini, is that it can be used in multiple environments. And that's really important. But this language pyramid, let's go to this research. Okay. The research shows that if we do not have a strong foundation in the first levels of communication, that as we move through the next levels, things will fall apart. And I'm sure we've all experienced that when you're learning something, or if you're helping, learning something yourself, right? Or helping your child, or teachers, if you're helping your students. If we don't have this strong foundation, all of a sudden, as we get further down the road, we find out, like, oh, there's gaps. There's gaps in what's happening. And we want to do our best to prevent any of those gaps happening as we are working through a language pyramid, as we're working through these communication skills. So it's important for you to know, especially as, let's use this example too. All right, because this is going to be happening a lot. Upcoming, we have holiday celebrations. Now, I happen to be recording this in December. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about birthdays throughout the year, or 4th of July, or if it's Christmas, okay? When there are celebrations or family gatherings or community gatherings, there tends to be a lot of comparison of kids based on how well they communicate. All right, so I'm just going to call it out that a lot of times in our disability community, parents feel less than or feel just disappointed sometimes. I'm just gonna say it, disappointed. Okay. Like, oh, my child is not talking at the same level or communicating at the same level as their same age peers. I've seen it as a teacher. I've seen it as, a sibling. I've seen it as, a Special Olympics coach, right? So I grew up coaching Special Olympics. So I've had a lot of experience, just a lot of different families and a lot of different environments. And there can be some frustration or some disappointment. And I want you, if you're a parent or if you're a teacher who feels like, oh, we've been stuck at a level for a while when it comes to communication, I want you to feel confident that building a strong foundation takes a long time. And that's okay. And building this strong foundation is worth it. Okay. So sticking with a program where if we're making progress, but it's slow, that's okay. And just having the right measurement tools to know that you're moving forward is key. So when you get into these moments of feeling like progress isn't happening fast enough, or look at how far behind my child is when it comes to communication, that you feel solid. You're like, you know what? I know that we have gone from here to here. Now, this could be on the language pyramid, right? So there's 9 levels of the Gemiini language pyramid. And we start with imitation. And at the very top of this pyramid is conversation skills. And there's a whole lot of things in between, like chunking phrases and action words and word labels. And what's really important about building this foundation is to know that when you build mastery, you build independence. And when we rush through and we don't build mastery in communication, we build communicators, our students, our children, who then become dependent on prompts for all of their communication. And we don't want that. Okay, right? We don't want dependent on prompts for all communication. We want to build up children to be as independent as possible in their communication. So it's really important for us to support through a research-based program. And I want you to go ask parents. I want you to go ask. And for my teachers, this went, no, please don't ask. Don't ask. I don't know the answer of, where's the research-based, communication language learning program? I don't have access to one of those in my district. And if you're like, what do you mean some teachers don't have it? Some teachers don't have it. I speak from experience. Okay. I speak from experience that not all districts, in fact, when I was a teacher, I could not have answered this question. If a parent would have came to me and said, what is the research-based, program that you're using to teach language and communication? I would have had to gone to the speech therapist and said, what are you using? Because she was giving me the tools to use in my classroom. I didn't have anything. I was not given a research-based curriculum as a special education teacher. Just let that sit for a minute. Okay. I was not given a research-based program in language, communication, reading, math, anything. Okay. I had to go seek those out from my district. And this is not unheard of. So when I share with you this, concept, this first step that I said of like research-based program, and I've said it over and over and over, and I'm sharing a tool with you, Gemiini, that you can use at home in school. It's because I know from experience that this is not always readily available. And here we're talking about the importance of building a confident communicator. We're talking about all the things that this can do for a child when we take time to build foundational mastery, when we take time to, help a child make progress at their own pace, meet them where they're at, and have a program that adapts to them. When we're talking about how we're going to fade prompts to build confidence in communication, and how that's going to build the independence, and it's going to, just open up a whole new world. When, the next level of communication always opens up this whole new experience for a child. And I start with the research-based program because I know I didn't have it. And I know from going into schools just this past summer, working with teachers, even working through with our teachers and our parents who are in the Master IEP Coach mentorship, when we talk about curriculum, there's always concerns that there's not research-based curriculum in all the areas that are needed. So I want to encourage you that if you are, again, a parent who is feeling like we need more progress and we need it to happen faster, the first thing is let's make sure we have a research-based program, and let's have data so you can make some really good decisions with your team on what can happen next. Teachers, I don't want you to be afraid to go get the tools and advocate for yourself in the schools to go get the tools that you need so you can provide this appropriate education. See, when we start asking for things for research-based programs like Gemiini to be used at both home and school, and we start seeing the progress that can happen, that's what changes our special education system. That's what changes the outcomes. It raises our expectations. We see new doors start to open, building our students' communication abilities just is life-changing. So again, I want to encourage you. Let's focus on what is a confident communicator for your child or for your students. That's going to look different for everybody. You know, it's going to look different of what confidence and independence looks like, but let's define that and let's build that. Let's make sure that our students are participating at the highest level possible with the communication solid, with all of the tools and the resources and the supports that they need to make this happen. Again, I want to encourage you to make this a conversation with your IEP team, because when we have strong communication goals, strong communication programs and curriculum, strong communication progress, it truly does really push the momentum of progress to a whole new level. So let's start talking about this. If you have questions about what is, just kind of the process to getting new programs or asking about research-based programs when it comes to communication or any other area, please don't hesitate to reach out. This is a topic that we need to start talking about more. We need to start talking about not just how to write goals, okay? Not just how we're going to build an IEP to prepare a child for further education, employment, and independent living, but how are we going to get the tools that we need at home and school to make sure that we have just the support, the education that our teams need, and by team, I mean parents and teachers, to help a child grow. Reach out if you have any questions. And again, don't forget to go check out Gemiini. Go find the language pyramid from Gemiini and go see what that looks like. Go see what this confident communicator kind of progress monitoring would look like. That will give you a starting point of what you should be looking for and what you could have implemented inside of an IEP. Again, reach out if you have any questions. Don't forget to grab your free IEP checklist. You guys heard me mention Master IEP Coaches and how we're problem solving through this all the time. If you're curious about the Master IEP Coach program, I'll put that link here, and I'll see you guys next time.